My kindergartner daughter came home with a family background information form. Thinking about protecting our privacy, I casually filled in a few numbers and submitted it to her teacher. I never imagined that the next day my daughter would come home crying, begging to transfer schools. They said it's a school for rich kids and that I'm too poor to be there, she sobbed. I was furious and immediately contacted my daughter's teacher, but her attitude was indifferent. It's best not to make a fuss, kids bickering is normal, she said dismissively. Besides, the kindergarten was invested in by one of the kids' moms. That threw me for a loop. No one had told me I gave birth to twins. I was in a company meeting when I received a call from Wang Ma, our housekeeper. Ms. Lee, can you come home for a bit? I was about to ask why when I heard my daughter's muffled cries on the other end of the line. Wang Ma, what happened? Why is Bebe crying? There was a moment of hesitation, then a trace of helplessness in her voice. Miss was bullied at school, Ms. Lee, you really should come home. Just those few words sent my heart into a frenzy. I rushed home without a second thought. Wang Ma had just finished bathing my daughter. Bebe. My daughter was wrapped in a towel, leaving only her swollen little face visible. Though she wasn't crying anymore, her eyes were swollen to the size of walnuts. I took my daughter from Wang Ma's arms with a pang of heartache. Bebe, what happened? Tell mommy who bullied you at school. The initial excitement of seeing me quickly faded, and her head hung low. She mumbled, Mommy, I don't want to go to that kindergarten anymore. I want to transfer schools. My heart sank. Tell mommy what happened. But no matter how much I asked, she wouldn't tell me, only shaking her head and saying she didn't want to go back to that kindergarten. Brightwood Kindergarten was a school that my husband and I had carefully selected for our daughter. It cost 700,000 yuan per year, offered bilingual interaction and countless extracurricular activities. More importantly, it was the kindergarten I had invested in, and it was close to our home. Since my daughter wouldn't say, I didn't press. Wang Ma helped to lull my daughter to sleep before finally speaking with indignation. When I picked Bebe up, she was filthy. She went into the laundry room and pulled out the pink dress that my daughter wore to school today. Look at this. There are footprints all over it. Her eyes began to redden as she continued. My heart broke when I picked her up today. She has never suffered such indignity, not since she was born. I comforted Wang Ma as I unfolded my daughter's dress. Just as she said, there were several small footprints on the hem and back. I tried to suppress my anger as I opened my phone. Teacher Lily, Bebe was bullied by other children at school today. Why didn't you privately message me? After sending the message, my mood was still disturbed. Those footprints were clear evidence that other children had pushed her to the ground and stomped on her. I couldn't bear to imagine how much it must have hurt her. But I waited a long time and didn't receive a message from the teacher. Helpless, I posted in the parent group chat. This time I included a picture of my daughter's dirty dress. My daughter came home with footprints all over her. Can everyone please ask their children who bullied my daughter? And I hope that teacher Lily will give me a reasonable explanation. Within a minute of the message, many parents in the group chat began to ask questions. Olivia's mom. It's a girl. This makes my heart ache. Ethan's dad. This behavior is horrible. I hope the school will offer an explanation. Owen's mom. Yes, I can't imagine how angry I would be if my child was the one hurt. Perhaps feeling the pressure of the public outcry, teacher Lily finally replied to me. Bebe's mom, don't be angry. I've sent you a private message. I quickly opened our chat and watched these typing. Notification pop up. Bebe's mom, I know you're upset, but it's best not to make a fuss. Kids bickering is normal. Besides, this kindergarten was invested in by one of the moms. Do you think you can afford to offend her? Reading those words, my eyes burned with fury. Very well then, let's meet tomorrow. Please make sure to invite the other child's mother to the school. After sending the message, I went to take a shower. But my phone kept ringing non-stop. Sophia's mom, school investor, I just asked my son, it was him who stepped on her. Kids fight, it's normal, isn't it? Now that I told you, what are you gonna do, eat my son? Bebe's mom. My hand trembled slightly. I was going to have a proper talk with her tomorrow. But now there was no need. Teacher Lily. Sophia's mom, please don't be upset. Sophia's mom, school investor, don't be upset? My son was so scared he started crying after seeing her message in the group chat. How can I not be upset? Bebe's mom, where are you? Weren't you asking me to come out and explain myself? She was coming on strong, and those parents who had been defending me had suddenly switched sides. Olivia's mom. I heard my husband say the investor was a powerful woman. I didn't expect her to be the mother of my son's classmate. What a coincidence. Sophia's mom, school investor, have very coincidental indeed. We can meet and talk at the upcoming parent conference. Bebe's mom, are you even looking at your phone? Teacher Lily. Bebe's mom, when children fight, it's best not to have adults get involved. Sophia's son is such a well-behaved boy, and you've scared him to tears. As an adult, shouldn't you apologize to my child? I laughed. After managing a company for so many years, I thought I'd met my fair share of shameless people, but it seemed I'd been proven wrong. Taking a deep breath, I typed out a message. Sophia's mom, school investor. Your son bullied my daughter and now you plan to turn it back on us? I'm not going to argue with you online. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we'll meet at school. After that, I forwarded all the screenshots to the principal. A few minutes later, he called me. On the other end of the line, he was trembling, his voice shaking. Ms. Lee, how did this happen? That Bebe was bullied at school. I scoffed. Yes, tell me how it happened. My daughter was bullied, and the school teacher didn't even try to solve the problem. Instead, she ganged up with the other parents and tried to scare us. Tell me, how should this be resolved? I heard the principal gulp several times. Finally, he stammered. I'll call Lily right away and have her sort this out. I didn't respond and hung up. How he dealt with the teacher was his problem. As soon as I hung up, my husband called. Honey, where's Bebe? I've been away on a business trip for 2 days, and she hasn't said she misses me. Seeing my dark expression, he stopped smiling. What's wrong, honey? Your expression looks awful. The words of teacher Lily and Sophia's mom flashed through my mind. I composed myself and slowly told my husband what happened. As soon as he heard what I said, he wanted to book the first flight home. I quickly reassured him. What would you come back for? Wait until the contract on your side is signed. My husband clutched his chest in anger. All right, I'm still here, aren't I? I'll let you know when things are settled here. It was already 10 when I hung up. I was exhausted. Just as I sat down on the sofa to rest my eyes, my phone started pinging nonstop again. It was all from teacher Lily. Bebe's mom. When you come tomorrow, apologize to Sophia and her mom first. Do you even know who you are dealing with? If you're not careful, your Bebe won't be able to go to school at all. I checked your family background information form. Your annual income is only 1,000,000 yuan. You must be struggling to send Bebe to this kindergarten. After reading this, I was wide awake. Could it be that what my daughter was going through at school was all because of the form I carelessly filled in? The night before, my daughter came back with a form. Teacher Lily said that everyone has to fill it out. I took the form and was annoyed by what it asked. It wanted to know parents' professions, how many cars were in the family, and what kind, how many nannies we had, and our annual incomes. This blatant act of checking our family's background was infuriating. It's just a kindergarten, why do they need to investigate so thoroughly? But what my daughter said next made my alarm bells ring. Teacher Lily said that this form should not be shown to others. She said it's only for our class. I didn't say anything. I silently fabricated some numbers and filled it out. But now I regretted it. Bebe's mom, Sophia, always goes to school in a luxury car. And Bebe's usually dropped off and picked up by an auntie walking, right? I hope you understand the difference. When you come tomorrow, apologize to Sophia's mom, and this will all be over. Teacher Lily continued to send messages. I was disgusted and switched to do not disturb mode. I tossed and turned all night. I was annoyed that I didn't fill in the form properly. At the same time, I knew that teacher Lily needed to be replaced. The next day, I woke up with dark circles under my eyes. Mommy, good morning. Looking at how obedient my daughter was, my heart ached. How about Mommy takes you to school today? My daughter, who was previously calm, immediately became agitated. I don't want to go. Mommy, I don't want to go to that kindergarten. And I don't want you to go either. I held her shoulders and asked gently, Tell mommy why, okay? After a long pause, my daughter finally said, Sophia is very rich and powerful. He said that if I told you, his parents would kill all of us. My heart skipped a beat. A child of 5 or 6 could say such terrifying words. It was obvious that a parent was behind it. Are you afraid that if you told mommy, and mommy went to find them, then they would bully mommy? My daughter nodded gently and looked at me worriedly. Mommy, please don't go to school. And I don't want to go either. That way he won't bully me. My heart ached as I looked at my daughter. She was so sweet and thoughtful. It's okay, your mommy is very strong. Do you believe that mommy can make him apologize to you? My daughter's eyes lit up, but immediately dimmed again. She shook her head. Mommy, Sophia's mom is the biggest investor in our school. None of us can offend them. Who told you this? My daughter hesitated for a moment. Teacher Lily. Although children can lie, combined with Teacher Lily's attitude yesterday, I had no doubt. How could someone with such low moral character be a teacher? They can't do anything to mommy. Your mommy is a superwoman. I practically coaxed my daughter to school. I knew that if we chose to give in this time, it would leave an indelible scar on my daughter's heart. She was still young and I had to protect her and let her grow up healthy. This time I drove. At 8:30 a.m., all the teachers were at the school gate to greet the students. I led Bebe out of the car and walked up to Teacher Lily. Hello, I am Bebe's mother. But Teacher Lily didn't say anything. Her eyes were fixed on my car. After what seemed like an eternity, she stuttered and pointed at my car. You came in this car? I raised my eyebrow. This person was truly a master at changing her tune. I'm here to deal with my daughter's issues, not to discuss the car. Hearing that, she finally shifted her gaze back to us. She licked her lips, about to speak when the sound of firecrackers went off behind us. The sound was deafening and we were all drawn to it. Leading the procession was a red car with a royal salute cannon mounted on it. That was the vehicle that had just caused the ruckus. It was followed by a red Porsche. Who is this person? What a big show. There aren't many poor people who come to this school. I guess we don't know which company's CEO this is. Why go through all the trouble for such a garish display? We soon found out the answer. The woman twisted as she got out of the car and slowly took off her sunglasses. Trailing behind her was a chubby child. Though he was small, his face was full of fat and his eyes held a hint of viciousness. My daughter cowered behind me in fear. Mommy, that's Sophia. The woman heard my daughter's voice and after removing her sunglasses, sized us up with disdain. You must be Bebe's mom? Before I could even speak, Teacher Lily had already bent over and was fawning over her. Sophia's mom, you didn't have to come today. She sneered, throwing me a sharp glare. Not come? How can I not come when my son has been wronged? She walked a few steps towards us. Bebe's mom, because of your insane behavior yesterday in the group chat, I demand that you bow down and apologize to my son. Her words caused an uproar. My daughter was also gripping my clothes tightly, scared to tears. Sophia even yelled at my daughter angrily. Who told you to tell your mom that I bullied you? Seeing his fist about to fall, I quickly dodged to the side with my daughter. His punch missed and he fell straight to the ground. Sophia's mother never expected this to happen. She hurriedly helped him up with the assistance of Teacher Lily. His face was covered in dust and he had scraped his nose. You bitch. Just as Sophia's mother was about to slap me, I grabbed her arm tightly. So that's why your child is so unreasonable. It must be because he has an unreasonable mother. With that, I pushed her hard into Teacher Lily. I'm here to stand up for my daughter, not to watch you throw a tantrum in front of me. I calmly pulled my daughter's dress out of my bag. I had originally wanted to talk about it in the office, but obviously she wasn't going to let me. After I showed the dress, Sophia's mother's face did not show any guilt, but was rather proud of her son's capabilities. Even if my son did it, what can you do? I can get your daughter kicked out of the school with just one sentence. Teacher Lily leaned over and whispered something to Sophia's mother. After that, Teacher Lily pointed at me. Sophia's mother frowned and then pulled out a large bundle of luxury car keys. One luxury car is enough to scare your teacher? Then what about this many keys? She tried to press them a few times. Suddenly my car started beeping. I looked at the keys in her hand and grabbed her arm. How did you get the keys to my car? She seemed surprised at my actions and looked a little panicked. Teacher Lily saw this and pushed me angrily. Bebe's mom, we have never seen you drive a car before. How did you suddenly get a luxury car? Is it rented? Hearing this, Sophia's mother nodded repeatedly. My keys can open your car. It must mean your car is rented from our dealership. She quickly grabbed her son's hand and was about to leave. We adults don't hold grudges against children. Let's just leave it at that. I could see that she was trying to hide something, so I grabbed her arm. Whether or not we let it go is up to me. Didn't you say you could make my daughter drop out? Teacher Lily assumed that I had rented a car to save face. She looked at me with disdain. Bebe's mom, Sophia's mom doesn't want to argue with you anymore. Why are you still bothering her? You and your husband must be working hard to earn all that money. Sending Bebe to school must have been very difficult. Don't you want your daughter to go to school anymore? I ignored Teacher Lily and simply stared at Sophia's mother with amusement. She wouldn't dare to look me in the eyes. Sophia widened his eyes. Who do you think you are? Do you know who my mom is? My mom paid for this kindergarten to be built. You better apologize right now. Children love to show off, and his voice was very loud. Everyone looked at Sophia's mother with admiration. Many of them started whispering behind my back, saying that I got lucky and I wasn't being a good sport. Sophia's mom, or should I call you Miss Lee? I remember that the investor of the kindergarten is surnamed Lee. So, how do you intend to resolve this issue? Do you want my daughter to withdraw? Or are you going to apologize? I ignored the people around me. I just wanted a perfect response. Sophia's mother was now being put on the spot and was starting to feel a little flustered. I told you I don't want to argue with you anymore. But I do. I walked close to her face to face. I don't just want your son to apologize to my daughter. I also want to know where you got all these cars from. Hearing that, her expression stiffened and her lips trembled slightly. The crowd was growing larger. Suddenly, a woman carrying a handbag came in. She held Sophia's mother's hand intimately. Ms. Lee, it's been a long time. I had my doubts, and the woman continued. I'm Olivia's mom. We chatted in the group chat before. At this point, Sophia's mother seemed to have suddenly realized who it was. It's you. The two of them started chatting, ignoring their surroundings, and then Olivia's mom immediately pointed the finger at me. I saw the picture you posted yesterday, Bebe's mom. The dress was dirty. It doesn't necessarily mean that Sophia stepped on her. Maybe your child did it herself and was afraid to tell you, so she made up a lie. I laughed. Her shamelessness made me laugh. What benefit do you get from trying to flatter her? She was a little embarrassed after I called her out. You, what nonsense are you spouting? I'm just stating the facts. I tossed my hair back and spoke flippantly. Then listen up, my name is Li Qing. I am the one who invested in this kindergarten. Are you crazy? What kind of joke is this? Teacher Lily grabbed my clothes. Bebe's mom, I know you're upset that your child was hurt, but you can't just start talking nonsense. Don't you feel ashamed of lying in front of your child? Maybe it was because she had the support of others. Sophia's mother also started to regain her confidence and was back to her old, overbearing self. I was originally going to let this go, but you're pushing it too far. I think it's time to properly discuss this matter. Teacher Lily and Olivia's mother repeatedly chimed in. We must give this shameless parent a lesson. Yes, she dared to impersonate you to save face. I folded my arms. How can you prove that you are Ms. Lee? I had thought she would start panicking, but I didn't expect her to pull a contract out of her bag. This should be enough proof. Although her face was calm, the hand holding the contract was trembling. Teacher Lily exclaimed, This is the contract that she signed when she invested in the school. Everyone looked at Sophia's mother with new eyes. She's a truly powerful woman. Yes, look at that woman's face. It's changed color. She can't keep up the act, can she? My face was indeed dark, but I was thinking about who had leaked the contract. Once this contract was exposed, there was a risk that other contracts would be leaked as well. Who is your husband? Right now, I couldn't think of anyone except for the secretaries beside my husband. Olivia's mother scoffed. Who is her husband? Who else could it be but the famous President Gu? Sophia's mother didn't say anything to confirm, just held herself straight. Teacher Lily patted me on the shoulder and said solemnly, "It's clear who the real investor is, Bebe's mom. If you don't want Bebe to lose her spot, you had better apologize." Before I could say anything, there was another commotion at the door. The principal? I followed the sound and saw a large-bellied man running towards us. His intention was clear. He grabbed Sophia's mother's hand. "Sorry for the lack of proper welcome, Ms. Lee, I'm so sorry. I'll definitely give you a satisfactory answer to this matter." Although I had asked my secretary to sign the contract, I was still desperate and patted the principal's back. "I am Li Qing." The principal hadn't come back to his senses, and Teacher Lily was passing the contract to the principal. "Look, this is Ms. Lee. The contract is in her hands." At this moment, I finally understood what it felt like to be unable to explain yourself. As expected, the principal looked at me with more disdain. He turned to face me. "You must be Bebe's mom? I'm telling you, your child is expelled." I cleaned out my ears and asked in disbelief, "What did you say?" Olivia's mom was gloating. "You wouldn't apologize, now your child's expelled." I coughed twice. "Expelled, is that so? Then I'll withdraw my investment. I'll pull my investment from your school." Teacher Lily laughed. "Withdraw your investment? Don't make me laugh." The principal frowned. "Please leave our school now." Actually, I had been thinking about withdrawing my investment since last night. Whether it was Teacher Lily's behavior or the principal's intentional actions, their approach had crossed my bottom line. Furthermore, the reason why I invested in the kindergarten was to make it convenient for my daughter to go to school. Since I had made up my mind to transfer my daughter to a new school, there was no need to continue investing. I took out my phone and called Yeezy. "Pull out my investment from Brightwood Kindergarten. It was my own personal investment, so I don't need to discuss it with the board." After hanging up, I looked around. "Sophia's mom, if you don't tell the truth now, then your husband's job is no longer safe. Also, stealing contracts has a punishment of its own. You should know what that is." Her face paled, turning red and then green. At that moment, the principal received a call. "What? Why did the investment get pulled out?" He looked at me with terror in his eyes before hanging up the phone and walking up to me with a pleading expression. You are Ms. Lee." I took a step back and picked up my daughter. "What's wrong? I'm about to transfer my daughter to a new school. And the investment I'll obviously pull out." The principal's legs were shaking as he apologized repeatedly. Teacher Lily had still not realized what was happening. She grabbed the principal's arm and pointed at Sophia's mother. "She is Ms. Lee." The principal pushed her away impatiently. "Get lost. You ignorant thing." Everyone was stunned. I was led into the office by the principal. As I sat on a chair, Sophia's mother was also brought in, along with a group of nosy parents. Olivia's mom took the lead and angrily pointed at me. "Sophia's mom hasn't even sat down, how dare you?" I glanced at Sophia's mother and noticed that she was shaking uncontrollably. "Sophia's mom, or should I say Ms. Lee, do you have any explanation for everyone?" As soon as I said that, she knelt on the ground in front of me. "I'm sorry, Ms. Lee, I was blinded by greed. Please don't tell my husband." "I'm sorry." She grabbed Sophia and pushed his head down. "Quick, apologize to Bebe." I leaned back and motioned for the principal to help her up. Teacher Lily and Olivia's mom were dumbfounded. You're Ms. Lee?" I was ignorant. "You're a magnanimous person." Olivia's mom quickly came over to me. "They say Ms. Lee is beautiful." She threw a disgusted look at Sophia's mother. I knew she was a fake. I was used to people like that, who would do anything to get ahead. But I would usually let it go. Now, with my daughter there, I had to speak up. I quickly interrupted. "Her. Are some people better than others? I came here to get justice for my daughter. Sophia bullied my daughter. It's not too much to ask for an apology." No, it's not too much," everyone quickly said. Although Sophia was small, he could sense that something was wrong. He wiped away his tears and apologized to Bebe. Bebe looked at me timidly. I asked, "Baby, how did he bully you yesterday?" My daughter hesitated before saying, "He said our family is poor, that I don't deserve to be at this school. He said poor people should just get lost. Then he pushed me to the ground and stomped on me. Olivia's mom was listening, and her face turned pale. She couldn't come back to her senses for a while. I said calmly and pointed at Sophia. Stomp back. No one dared to speak. I lovingly caressed my daughter's hair. Go on, stomp back. Do whatever he did to you. With my encouragement, my daughter walked over to him. Sophia was looking at his mother for help. My daughter stomped on him twice and then hid in my arms. Let's say this matter is over. As soon as I finished, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The principal fawned over me. Ms. Lee, I'll transfer Bebe to a different class. Don't you worry. I shook my head and pointed to Teacher Lily, who was standing next to him. I want to ask, how did someone like her become a teacher? She had been snooping into parents' privacy and had even used their income to classify children. I was furious after learning about this. The principal stammered. Isn't this a misunderstanding? Misunderstanding? I took out my phone. Luckily, I had taken a picture when I was filling out the form. Then what is this? The principal took the phone hesitantly, and his expression changed. What are you doing? Teacher Lily collapsed, crying and saying she did wrong. I just wanted to understand the student's situation. I didn't mean anything by it. If Bebe's mom has misunderstood, then I apologize. She started to apologize to me. I sighed. You don't have to come here anymore. You want to understand the student's situation? You're doing it for your own selfish desires. You're the one to blame for the bullying. If she hadn't asked them to fill out the family background form, then nothing like this would have happened. Her actions made all the children label each other based on their families. Teacher Lily saw that I had made up my mind, so she hugged the principal. You have to be the one to make the decision. You promised that you would guarantee my future. I quickly covered my daughter's eyes. The principal opened the door and pushed Teacher Lily out. What nonsense are you spouting? Seeing their shameless behavior made me bored. The apologies are made, so I'll be leaving. Just as I was about to leave, the principal started rubbing his hands together. What about the investment? After that, Sophia's mother asked with shame. About the contract. I chuckled. Didn't I already say? I'm withdrawing my investment. When the principal had suddenly claimed that Bebe was expelled without asking any questions, I had already made up my mind. I saw that I had made my decision and his face was ashen. I'm so sorry, Ms. Lee, please give me another chance. Please. He asked again, but I rejected him firmly. Your teachers lack integrity. I don't think you are capable of managing a school. I invested in your kindergarten because of my daughter, but since my daughter was wronged, I have no intention of reinvesting. And as for you, I said and looked at Sophia's mother. I've already filed a police report regarding the contract. I believe the police will find the answer. I felt relieved when I held my daughter in my arms and left. The air seemed fresher than ever. My daughter was in a good mood. She was giggling as she hugged my neck. Mommy, you were amazing. You are a super mommy. I couldn't help but feel guilty. My child was still young. Her values were based on her teacher, family, friends, and classmates. Couldn't even imagine how much hurt my daughter would have endured if Wang Ma hadn't discovered the problem, or if she hadn't told me. Baby, what kind of kindergarten do you want to go to? She thought for a long while before she finally said, I want to go to one that doesn't have so many extracurricular activities and tutoring sessions. Okay, Mommy understands. When I got home, my husband called. How is it? How's Bebe? Daddy. I'm okay, Mommy was super amazing. Sophia already apologized to me. My husband was relieved after hearing this, but there was a strange expression on his face. Baby, who was the one who bullied you? Sophia. I noticed that something was off, so I sent my daughter away. Gu Tao's son is also named Gu Zhiyao, and I asked him, his son also goes to the same kindergarten. Could it be? I nodded. That must be the case. Gu Tao was my husband's personal secretary. He had been asked to come home a few times to retrieve contracts. After Bebe was born, my husband and I decided to merge our offices into one to spend more time with our daughter. It was then that the contract was lost. As expected, I received a call from Gu Tao. He was apologizing profusely, saying he had been blinded by greed. It was all for the sake of my child. What parents would want to watch their child be inferior to others? I asked in disbelief. What does this have to do with your child? Isn't this all because of your need to save face? You also duplicated the keys to our car. The other side was silent for a long time and then started apologizing again. I was tired. Go tell that to the police. The next day, my phone was flooded with text messages from Sophia's mother. She said that she had been obsessed with saving face and had incited her husband to do all those things. She was asking me to forgive them. However, I had already filed a police report and had no intention of forgiving their actions. It was just an investment contract this time, but what about next time? This time it was the car keys, but next time it could be the house keys. I didn't dare to think about it. Later, my husband returned from his business trip and told me that Gu Tao had been arrested. He won't be out for at least 7 or 8 years. He gave my daughter a kiss on the cheek. Honey, thank you for holding down the fort while I was away. I waved my hand. It's all in the past. Then Yizi told me that there was a man requesting to see me at the door. When he came in, I realized it was the principal. He immediately knelt on the ground and begged me, "Can you please reconsider the investment?" No. Yizi, show him out. After I withdrew my investment, many companies followed suit. The parents saw that the tide had turned and hurriedly transferred their children out. The kindergarten, which had once been the most popular, was now in ruins. Unfortunately, that was the result of the principal's own actions. 1 week later, the principal was sent to prison. I heard that he killed a teacher. She had a terrible death. Yizi shuddered and told me. The image of teacher Lily flashed through my mind. 6 months later, my husband and I attended a dinner party. Olivia's mom was also there. She held up her glass awkwardly and toasted. What happened before was my fault. Please forgive me. I immediately tossed my glass to the ground. I won't participate in or work on this project. I pointed at her. President Lin, go home and ask your wife about her behavior in the kindergarten. My husband and I looked at each other and smiled as we left. Our goal from years ago was to get to this point. To not let anyone push us around and to be able to stand up to anyone. I found a new school for my daughter. She was now coming home happily every day. Today, Ms. Ice taught me how to make paper cuttings. My husband quickly picked up the paper cutting. Let's stick it on Daddy's car. I also received a message from Ms. Ice. She reminded us every day to spend time with our child and to communicate. We're both doing it now. Seeing my daughter growing up day by day, I felt a wave of emotion. The end.